Before we dive into today's reclamation, I want to share a podcast with you that I actually listen to when I want to feel deeply seen. It's The Brilliance Method with Alicia Skye. And it's where emotional truth meets embodied wisdom, so that all that internal noise can fall away and you can connect with what actually matters. If you're like me, you're obsessed with deep self-evolutionary healing and how it actually creates next level alignment for living in your deepest purpose. Whether you're just embarking on your self-development journey or you're deep into your becoming, Alicia's conversations meet you where you're at, activating something ancient and entirely your own. You can find the Brilliance Method on Spotify or your favorite platform, as well as on YouTube. So after this episode, go have a listen and make sure to hit follow so that you'll never miss your weekly fix. Now let's drop into today's transmission. By late September, we are already subtly spiraling because holiday stress has already been set into motion. And the candy, the pumpkin lattes, and the self-shaming that all come along with it aren't coincidence. They're cues of hidden triggers of what is to come. Hey, shapeshifters, welcome back to another episode of the Cosmic Valkyrie podcast. I'm your host, Lynn Louise, Master Certified Hypnotist and the creator of the Evolution 10X Method. And this is the first episode of a series that I am delivering to you to help you create more enjoyment, ease, and flow throughout your holidays so you can be more present and purposeful. I want to start this series out by asking you, have you ever noticed that when holiday candy hits the shelves and the pumpkin spice starts flowing, that your brain starts silently spiraling into planning, overthinking, and small bouts of panic? And normally our first inclination is to explain these small panics away because you don't have the energy to bother with them right now while the world feels like it's on fire. I get it. Our first instinct is to soothe panic attacks, not dissect them. And this leads to falling into familiar patterns and habits, meaning trying to calm your nerves through what has worked in the past, like comfort food or wind down Wednesdays. Or if you're like me, I used to do shopping therapy. And all of those work for a little while, but then they trap you. And that's what I'm going to explain today. So, have you ever been Christmas shopping and then added a couple extra items to the cart because it made you feel good? Or told yourself you needed a happy hour drink to blow off some steam? Or even spent the night back and forth from the kitchen, each time searching for a different snack? I have. I used to try to manage my stress through emotionally eating and even running, but it never seemed to last. And before you say that you don't drink or emotionally eat, I want you to slow down because that's your brain trying to figure out a way to stop you from listening any further to this podcast because it doesn't want you to hear the truth. And that's because it doesn't want you to change. It's trying to discourage you from looking deeper into your own personal habits. So this podcast isn't about the pumpkin spice latte or even the shoe purchase specifically. It's about how you are trying to manage your internal stress through external means of self-soothing. Self-soothing works for a little while, but it truly is a trap that accelerates the stress cycle year after year, holiday after holiday, and by January 1st, you find yourself so worn down that you have nothing left and you can't stick to the resolutions that you have set into place for the following year. But this year, all that is changing because you have this series of podcasts. So make space in your planner to listen to each episode every week. Listen to them multiple times. Make this a priority because it's your ticket to creating more presence in your holiday season while enjoying all the things. Okay, so let's get to work. Today I want to talk about how to put your awareness to work so that you can eliminate your stress patterns. So let's start with what the cycle looks like. I'm going to share my personal experiences throughout this podcast to help you understand what's happening. So while listening, just try to identify similarities in your own patterns. Okay, so every year in late August, when Halloween decorations hit the shelves in the store and the pumpkin spice is at the entry of every grocery store, I used to say silently to myself, here we go again. It's too early for this. As I was tossing a bag of Halloween candy in my cart, fully knowing that by buying it then, it was just going to be eaten before Halloween. But I wasn't even slowing down to actually realize that we still were 2 months away from October 31st. This was a mindless, instinctual habit. Habits that happen on autopilot, just grabbing and going without any additional thought. And of course, I would pour that candy into a bowl and sit it on the kitchen counter and watch it disappear over the next weekish, piece by piece, here and there. Why did the candy disappear so quickly? This isn't about the candy. It's another layer in the same habit. Because honestly, the candy isn't just that good that it needs to disappear. Because it isn't. Instead, the reason why it disappeared so quickly is because of the trigger responses that are running silently in the background. So let me explain this. Let's say you wake up fresh and ready to go for the day, going about your business when you realize that you're running late for work. And then you start stressing about the time. That's a trigger. And that trigger immediately starts sending you into unconscious search engines inside your brain for things that can soothe that panic of being out of time. I want to interject here. Your brain is going to come up with things that seem like valid reasons, but it's really self-soothing. So say this trigger about time, not having enough time, tells you that you need to run through the Starbucks for a morning coffee. Your brain might be sending out an excuse telling you that you don't have enough time to make your own at home. When the reality is, we know the time it takes to go through the drive-thru and get the coffee is about the same or more than it takes you to make coffee at home. Or your brain might be telling you, it's one small treat you have in life and you deserve it. I'm not saying that you don't deserve treats. The point I'm making is that awareness to the initial urge will give you the insight to whether it's a trigger or acting from a pleasure point. Okay, so you have made your way through the drive-thru, and while sipping your coffee, you begin to feel better. The stress begins to lessen, and you're back on track. For a while, it might be for an hour or even a few, but another trigger hits. Maybe it's an unexpected deadline or a conflict with a coworker, and all of a sudden, you find yourself searching for the next soother. Maybe it's comfort food for lunch, or you find yourself standing in front of the vending machine. Again, after that lunch or candy or whatever it is, you feel soothed for a while. Most of my clients, around 3 o'clock is another trigger point for them. Something happens to stress you out, and by then you're thinking about the glass of wine or 3 with friends out to blow off some steam, or maybe hitting the gym extra hard to manage your stress. And so you do that. And again, it works, but only for a little while. And day after day, the gap between triggers shortens. And the deeper we get into the holiday season, the more likely you are to continually live in a state of fight or flight. And here's what I want you to know. All of this is because as women, we are taught that we are too emotional. So we have become really good at bypassing and pushing our emotions aside, hiding them from others, but even hiding them from ourselves, which in and of itself is dangerous. But when we compound what replaces it, it can add even more damage. So the reality is, these are distracting behaviors from feeling the feelings. They are a self-soothing behavior, which keep us from not only expressing our emotions, but experiencing them. So becoming aware of when we are triggered is the very first step. Once we recognize the stress pattern, the next step is to ask, who am I when I'm getting stressed? Because the root of the problem isn't the stress. It's who you believe you are in that moment. The belief around your identity that is driving the old behaviors. A story that you're telling yourself about who you are and what you are capable of is the actual stressor that activates those behaviors. So these belief systems about yourself keep you operating from old patterns that you thought you outgrew. And why is this? Because your brain loves the familiar, even if it's miserable. I want you to think of this. You've done the journaling, you've set intentions, you've promised yourself this year will be different. But have you ever noticed the moment things get chaotic, you find yourself doing exactly what you've promised yourself you wouldn't let happen? Saying yes when you mean no, taking on too much, maybe biting your tongue, stress shopping, people pleasing, or running yourself into the ground. Why is this? Because your subconscious mind is your prediction machine. It is built for survival, not success. And it will identify the fastest route to comfort that it confuses as safety. And what feels the safest to your subconscious, you may be asking? Whatever you've done before. That pattern, because it's predictable, even if it burns you out. So when stress spikes, your brain goes, oh, remember that time that you ate that piece of leftover cake and it made you feel better? Let's do that again. And so you do it. And the truth is, your brain really believes it is saving you. But what it is really doing is distracting you from what really needs to happen. And that's feeling the feelings. And during the holiday season, I'm going to be honest with you, women take on some serious identity shifts that have been drilled into us, like the people pleaser, the martyr, the fixer, the perfectionist. This is just to list a few of those identities. And without realizing it, you're operating from identities which create a chain reaction that reinforces the fight or flight behaviors. Identities that are not aligned with your values, that keep you agreeing to things that don't fit the path that you're building for your future. You're reverting to running on an outdated system, passed down to you from your mothers and your grandmothers and their grandmothers. I'm not going to go into how or why these identities are passed down to us because I'm addressing that in my $27 workshop coming up October 13th. I'll tell you more about that later. Because what I want to talk about right now, briefly, are a few of these subconscious identities to give you a better understanding of how they keep you stressed. The first one that I see the most of is the people pleaser. She says yes to everything, even when she wants to say no, just to keep the peace. Or the martyr, the one who puts herself last, giving everything to others, and then collapsing on January 1st, wondering why she's so exhausted. Or what about the overachiever? She takes on more than anyone asks for because she equates her value with being the most productive and put together. Sound familiar? Those are only a few. These identities aren't who you are. They are inherited masks passed down through our lineage. modeled by mothers, grandmothers, aunts, and reinforced by society that praises women for overfunctioning and punishes us for saying no. And there's a real cost to defaulting to these old systems. While these identities might feel like you're helping, what they are actually doing is driving cortisol and adrenaline through your system day after day, collapsing your immune system and wrecking your digestion, your sleep, and your hormones, making it impossible to feel calm, creative, and even magnetic. And by the time the actual holidays arrive, you're already burnt out physically, emotionally, and energetically. You're in get through it mode instead of enjoy it mode. You're disconnected from your body, from your own joy. And the kicker, because it's all so familiar, you've convinced yourself that this is normal. Just because it's familiar doesn't mean it's your truth. You're gonna have to interrupt this identity spiral once and for all. So how do you stop defaulting into your old stress identity? This brings me to one of the most important shifts you'll ever make on your path to peace: slowing down. But not the way you think. I'm not talking about clearing your calendar or canceling plans or scheduling a mani-pedi or bubble bath or even leaving the dishes in the sink. I'm talking about something more radical and far more effective: slowing down internally. Because the truth is, you can meditate every morning and still be moving 1,000,000 miles a minute inside your mind for the other 23 hours of the day. You can quit the committee, say no to the dinner party, and still carry the weight of the pressure in your chest. The internal race, for most, has become an addiction, one we've inherited as a mental rhythm that says to us things like, hurry or you'll fall behind, fix it now or you'll regret it later, or even get ahead, stay ahead, or you'll never catch up. This type of mental pacing is the result of years, even decades, of being trained to move from urgency and panic to always being on and to equating speed and effort with your worth. And during the holidays, they amplify it. Because even if your calendar looks simpler this year, your internal calendar is already booked with worry, guilt, overthinking, even pressure. Slowing down internally is about stepping out of the cycle, not just changing your schedule, but shifting your internal state. And I'm going to be completely honest. It can be hard. Because at first, when you slow down inside, the first thing your brain wants to do is resist change. And it gets louder. The truth gets louder. The pain gets louder. The self-doubt gets louder. The parts of you kept quiet start knocking. But this is where the real transformation begins. Because when you stop running from yourself, you meet your eternal power. You meet the woman underneath all the coping mechanisms. The part of you that doesn't just survive the holidays, but the one that creates next level depth within them. Depth in her relationships, even within the relationship she has with herself. And she shapes her holidays into something that reflects actual peace and joy. When you slow your internal rhythm and reclaim your nervous system, your timeline, and your presence, you stop reacting to every little thing. And you stop scrambling to soothe. You stop defaulting to those inherited identities that were never really yours to begin with. Slowing down inside gives you space to choose. And that's the most radical act a woman can take during the holiday season. To choose how she feels, how she shows up, what stays and what goes. So if there's one invitation I can offer you as we move through this podcast series, It's this: slow down enough to meet yourself. Let the space you create inside become a space where you evolve. Okay, now listen. This episode might be landing hard for you right now. It may even be triggering because you've done the work before. You've tried to slow down and you still found yourself spiraling. That's exactly why I've created the No More Holiday Hustle workshop. It's not another to-do list. It's not another meditation schedule. And it's not another obligation to juggle. It's not fluff. It is a complete frequency upgrade designed to shift your trajectory and move you out of spiraling and into intentional creation. For just $27, you receive 3 powerful bite-sized trainings delivered straight to your inbox. This means no Zoom links, no set schedules, just pure potent shifts you can listen to while drinking your morning coffee, commuting to work, stirring dinner. Each training is under 20 minutes, but what you unlock can change your entire season. And if you're craving more depth, more VIP level energetic shifts, you can upgrade to the VIP for just $20 more. Because this year, you don't need another tip. You need a total reset, a reclamation of your energy, your joy, your peace, and your power to choose how the rest of your year will feel. You can join at the link in the description. Because here's the deal. This season has already begun. Your patterns are already activating. And this, right now, is your moment to interrupt the spiral before it really gets spinning. Don't wait until January to reset. Let this be the year that you don't just hope for things to be different. You make things different. Join the workshop. Say yes to flow. And meet the most powerful version of yourself this holiday season. You deserve that. Go to the show notes and get registered today. Until next time. Thanks for listening to this entire podcast. If you love helping others, then please share this via your social media with friends and family. If you found value in it, they will too. Also, if you have questions, I'm here for you. You can email me questions to thecosmicvalkyrie@gmail.com. I might even use one of your questions on future podcast episodes. Also, I do have a personal request. I believe that we are all here to help each other heal, grow, and evolve. So let's help more people. If you would please, leave a nice review on iTunes. It will help the algorithms, and I would be forever grateful. And through your assistance, we could transform more lives.